5 money myths that are keeping you broke. You work hard, you save money, you try to be responsible. So why does it still feel like you're not getting ahead? The answer might surprise you. It's not just what you do with your money, it's what you believe about it. We've all been raised on common financial advice that sounds wise, but can actually be dangerous. Phrases like, hard work will make you rich. Buying a home is always a smart investment. Saving money is the key to wealth. Debt is always bad. Only rich people need financial plans. These are money myths. They sound good, they're easy to repeat, but they're not always true. And believing them could be the reason you're still stuck financially. In this video, we'll break down 5 of the most common money myths and show you how to think differently so you can finally take control of your finances and start building real wealth. Myth 1. Hard work alone will make you rich. You were probably taught that if you work hard, you'll succeed. That if you just put in more hours, you'll eventually make more money. But here's the truth. Hard work alone is not enough. If hard work guaranteed wealth, every construction worker, farmer, and nurse would be a millionaire. The world is full of people who work hard every day, yet many of them still struggle financially. Why? Because wealth is not just about effort. It's about direction. It's about leverage. It's about systems. Let's look at 2 people, Chris and Alex. Chris works 60 hours a week in a low-paying job. He never complains. He takes overtime. He believes that loyalty and hard work will pay off. But year after year, his income stays the same. His bills pile up, and he feels stuck. Alex also works hard, but in a different way. He spends 40 hours at his job, but he also spends 5 hours each week learning how to invest. He tracks his finances. He starts a side business online. At first, he earns nothing. But over time, that side business grows. His investments begin to compound. 10 years later, Alex earns more from his assets than from his job. What's the difference? Not work ethic, but strategy. Not more effort. Smarter effort. Chris believes hard work is enough. Alex learns that wealth comes from building systems that grow without constant labor. If you only trade time for money, you will always be limited. Time is finite, but money can multiply. To build wealth, you must shift from working harder to working smarter. You must focus on assets, skills, and opportunities that create income without your constant presence. That is how wealth is built. Hard work matters, but it is just the starting point, not the finish line. Myth 2. Buying a house is always a good investment. For many people, owning a home is the ultimate financial goal. They hear it from parents, they hear it from friends, they hear it from society. Renting is throwing money away. Buying is always better. But that is not always true. A house can be a good investment, but it can also be a financial trap. Let's look at 2 people. Emma buys a large home as soon as she qualifies for a mortgage. The house looks great, but it comes with high property taxes, expensive maintenance, and years of debt. Most of her income goes toward the mortgage. She has no money left to invest. Her home value rises slowly, but her net worth stays the same. Liam, on the other hand, decides to rent a modest apartment. Instead of buying a home right away, he uses his savings to invest in stocks and build a side business. His investments grow. He builds multiple income streams. Eventually, he buys a home when it makes financial sense. He buys from a position of strength, not pressure. The key difference is this. Emma saw her home as an investment. Liam saw it as a lifestyle choice. The truth is, your primary residence is not always an asset. It does not generate income. It costs money every month, and it can tie you down financially. A true investment puts money in your pocket. A house takes money out. That does not mean owning is bad, but you must know why you're buying. For stability, for family, for peace of mind, not just for profit. Do not confuse home ownership with wealth building. They are not the same thing. Myth 3. Saving money is the key to wealth. You are told to save money, to cut back, to be frugal. You hear it everywhere: save more, spend less. That is how you get rich. But here is the problem. You can't save your way to wealth, not in the long term. Saving is important. It gives you safety. It gives you options. But saving alone will not make you wealthy. Let's compare two people. Nina saves 30% of her income. She lives on a tight budget. She avoids every extra expense. She keeps all her savings in a regular bank account. Her money grows slowly. Inflation eats away at her balance. Over time, her purchasing power shrinks. Tom saves just 15% of his income, but he uses that money to invest. He buys index funds. He reinvests dividends. He lets compound interest do the work. His money grows faster than inflation. He builds wealth over time. What's the lesson? Saving is not enough. You must put your money to work. Cash sitting in a bank is safe, but it's also stagnant. It doesn't grow. It doesn't multiply. Wealth is built through ownership. Ownership of assets, stocks, businesses, real estate, anything that generates value over time. Saving gives you the fuel. Investing gives you the engine. If you only save, you'll stay stuck in safety mode. To move forward, you need growth mode. Build the habit of saving, but don't stop there. Learn to invest wisely. That is how money turns into wealth, not by hiding it, but by using it. Myth 4. All debt is bad. Most people are taught to fear debt. Stay away from credit cards. Never borrow money. Debt is dangerous. Debt is evil. And yes, bad debt can destroy your finances. But not all debt is bad. There is a difference between debt that takes money from you and debt that helps you build wealth. Let's look at two people. Brian avoids all forms of debt. He refuses to take loans. He saves for years before starting his business. By the time he begins, the market has changed. Opportunities have passed. He plays it safe but moves slowly. Anna takes a different approach. She studies the business. She builds a plan. She takes out a small business loan. She uses it to launch faster. She controls her cash flow. She tracks her expenses. Her business grows. She pays off the loan early, and now she owns a profitable asset. Brian avoided risk, but lost time. Anna took smart risk and gained momentum. The lesson is simple. Bad debt is used to buy things that lose value, like fancy cars, gadgets, vacations. Good debt is used to buy or build things that grow in value, like a business, like rental property, like education that increases your income. The goal is not to avoid all debt. It is to learn how to manage it, to use it with intention, to borrow only when there is a clear plan to grow. Debt is a tool. Used wisely, it can accelerate your progress. Used carelessly, it can bury you. Know the difference. And don't let fear stop you from using leverage to grow. Myth 5. Only rich people need a financial plan. Many people think financial planning is for the wealthy. They believe it's something you do after you get rich, not before. But that belief is backward. The truth is simple. The less money you have, the more important a plan becomes. Let's look at two people. David lives paycheck to paycheck. He tells himself he'll make a budget when he earns more. Right now, he just tries to survive. He reacts to bills. He borrows when emergencies hit. He never feels in control. Sophie earns the same income, but she decides to create a basic financial plan. She tracks her expenses. She sets limits on spending. She builds an emergency fund. She sets goals for saving and investing. 6 months later, she feels more confident. 1 year later, she's out of debt. 3 years later, she has investments growing in the background. David waited for money to make a plan. Sophie made a plan to get more money. That's the difference. A plan is not about being rich. It's about making your money work, no matter how little you start with. Planning gives you clarity. It gives you structure. It helps you stop wasting money on things that don't matter. It helps you say no to things that hurt you, and say yes to things that move you forward. Without a plan, your money controls you. With a plan, you control your money. You don't need to be rich to start. You need to start to stop being broke. Closing summary. The most dangerous lies are the ones that sound true. Money myths are everywhere. You hear them from people you trust. You hear them so often, you stop questioning them. But believing the wrong things about money can keep you stuck for life. You can work hard, save every penny, avoid all debt, and still feel like you're going nowhere. Because what you believe shapes what you do, and what you do shapes your future. So here's the truth. Hard work is not enough. Buying a house is not always smart. Saving alone won't make you wealthy. Not all debt is bad, and financial planning is not just for the rich. If you want to change your financial life, you have to start by changing your mindset. Question the advice you've been given. Think critically. Learn from those who've built wealth the right way. And most of all, take ownership of your beliefs. Because real financial freedom doesn't start in your wallet. It starts in your mind.